G'day everybody. Just going to show you a quick little video and chat about what I've been doing to my knives. This is the cold steel kukri machete, just one of those cheaper sort of ones. It's only got whatever it is, the 2.8mm steel blade material. It's 1055 carbon, and I believe this is like a not sure. The blade looks a bit bigger than what I thought. I was going to say 14 inches, but it's probably a bit longer than that. Anyway, that's not really what's important. You can all check that out yourselves. But I did a couple of little mods to it. One, I ground on the back here. I ground a sharp spine, so this right side, the left side here is very sharp. That side not quite so sharp, but I've got one side here for scraping timber and making shavings and sparking a ferro rod. And I also just rounded off this, 4.5–5 inches at the top here, so if I want to use this as a draw knife, it actually feels really good. You've got the bent curved kukri shape anyway to begin with, but then just rounding that off just gives you a really nice sort of grip. So when you want to use this section of the blade here to pull towards you, I think it's going to do the job. So, and then what I've done here is I made this a finer edge. It's just a convex edge, just on a belt linisher, belt grinder with the belt on it. That's straight off the belt finish, and I'll touch it up with the stone, and then I just retouched the rest of the blade with the same belt linisher, straight off the linisher. I was testing it out on things, and it cuts, no worries. Should be careful actually with that, because that'll leave spikes all over the ground. So that was, I've already done a bit of work testing it out at my mate's place, but I will hit that with the stone a little bit later tonight when I finally go inside, and yeah, that should sort of do nicely. So I've got a nice fine edge for either fine cutting, fine work, maybe taking some scrapings for making a fire, or making curls. Then I've got the sharp 90-degree edge here for making fine little scrapings for tinder or sparking a ferro rod. Rounded that off and then just retouched up the blade, so that should be pretty much good to go. Now the next thing I've done is the cold steel GI Tanto. So I've got two here. One's pretty much unused. This is my mate's knife. I sold him this ages ago. He has put it on a Ken Onion, work sharp Ken Onion. This was the first knife that he tried to sharpen on that, and he's not really overly happy with it. But anyway, the idea of showing you this knife is to show you what this looks like in comparison to the mods I made to mine last night and today. So I'll pull mine out. So this one here is the one that I showed you in the video yesterday, and yeah, it still hasn't finished it. I'm going to put a vinegar patina on this, so you can sort of see where I broke the tip off. You can see how much I've shortened this thing, and I've probably shortened it a little bit more with the grinding that I've done. So as you can see, I've taken this back knife catcher, I don't know what you'd call that part, thumb rampy thing, that was way too sharp. When you hold this, anyone who's got one, you'll know that yeah, it probably does its job by stopping your hand from sliding over the blade and coming forward, but it's not real comfortable, and this finger choil with this thing here, that makes it terribly uncomfortable to use, you know. So I done away with mine, done away with it. Turned out not too bad at all. And then I rounded this part just here on mine, and surprisingly it actually didn't take much to make a big difference in the comfort level. So now my finger just sort of fits in there nice, just with the rounded off edges, and it feels great. There's no sharp edges at all now. You might see that, you know, I used the same belt grinder, the bench grinder with the belt on it, 2-inch belt, that I used to do the machete, which I used to do the whole thing. This I just used an angle grinder, cut it pretty flush to the back of the spine there, and then just went over the whole spine with the finishing belt. Also, I really don't know how well it's gonna show up on the video. I don't have a monitor, I'm using an iPad. I'll try and do this slowly just in case some light catches it. But the whole finish on the spine, all the way around the handle, the underside here, all under here, that's like a rough casting sort of thing. It's like a very rough casting sort of finish. And yeah, it's not the most attractive sort of thing. So I just went the whole way around on the back, underneath, just went the whole way around it and just gave it a fairly nice sort of finish on there. Yeah, it's pleasing to the eye, but it's also, it does feel a little bit smoother as well. What else have I done? Okay, now you will definitely see that the Tanto-y, the sharp lines of the Tanto I've sort of blended out, and this thing here, after running over the Ken Onion, it's dulled the point that used to be there. Most people who are familiar with Tantos will know that there's a bit of a point there. Well, I've sort of rounded that out, and I've taken off the secondary bevel, and I've turned this into basically a convex grind the whole way around it. So, bloody hell, I still don't have paper here, but that's just a convex edge, which is pretty sharp, and it's decently sharp just straight off the belt without even trying to put an edge on there, just by redoing the whole profile. I did start to sand this. I did start to sand this a little bit to try and get a really nice finish before I put the patina on it, but I'm quickly running out of where's some light? I don't know where you're going to be able to see that, whether that's shiny, but there is some deep sort of scratches in there. I went straight to 400 grit wet and dry, and it wasn't taking those deep scratches out, so I went to 180. It's definitely made it smoother. It started to take the edge off those deep scratches, but I'm running out of time, running out of paper. I'm going to have to go to the shops to buy some more, plus I need to get food and start dinner soon, so I'm going to give up on it today. I might even just put a patina on this anyway, just to try the vinegar patina out, see how it turns out, and who knows, it's probably not worth trying to make this a masterpiece, but I can always come back to it. And yeah, I might just put a patina on this, put it together, hone up an edge on it, and just leave it. I don't know. Like I said, can always come back. A couple of things that, so if you've got a bench grinder and you wanted to try this, a couple of things that I learnt was I may even put on the back of the video, I might just put a picture of the limitations of what I got with the bench grinder and where it's sitting. You know, I don't have a lot of room, I don't have a fully set up shop or garage or anything like that. I've just got what I got, and my grinder is sitting inside like a shelf, and there's a wall close by, so obviously the wheel spins in one direction, which is towards me, and anyone who's experienced this before, yeah, it grinds really good one way, which was this way. But then when I turn it around the opposite way, it's hard to get a nice even start. I can't see what I'm doing, and it's a bit of an unco-y sort of place to start up here. It's way better to start on a tip and then bring it down, rather than starting up here where you've got the sharpening choil, which I will put a little file mark there. So yeah, it's left a couple of little marks where I've been, I guess, plunging it into the belt to get it to start and then grinding, and I didn't realise at the time, but that's not a straight bevel on there. That is actually a hollow grind, which I didn't realise at the time. So when I tried to start the convex edge or the second or the main bevel, put it on the grinder or the linisher, and then I wasn't touching the black powder coaty finish there, so that's why I tried to come over the top of the wheel and grind down this way to try and remove it. Then I put it on a wire wheel, and I ended up putting a little bit of paint stripper on that last little bit. But in my efforts of trying to do that and experimenting with the belt, how I can start it, you might be able to see just here, I've just dug in a little bit and gone a little bit deep just there. So it's not perfect, but there again, we all have to start somewhere, and yeah, that's how it is. So what I might do, I even sort of just rounded off inside here, so even the choil feels a lot nicer now. So it's taken a little bit of weight out of it. Now the other thing is the way that these Securex sheaths work. There's two tapered little ramps on either side that line up nicely with the back edges of these finger guards, and as you close this, if you watch closely there, see how that's expanding? I'm not sure if you can see it. That expands as this is pushing through, and as it goes past, it closes up behind it. It's under tension from these rivets here, obviously. And all you're doing is you're just using force to force the knife past that little ramp or that little wedge. So you can see that opening up, comes out. Same thing, it's closed now, it's opening up, snapping down behind it. So I was a little tiny bit worried about, is it relying on the two sides for that to snap closed? But as it turns out, no, it works perfectly fine. As you'll see here, this will open when I push it in. It's opening now, snaps in shut. Probably wobbles around a little tiny bit more, but okay, so it is coming out a little tiny bit easier. But what I do intend on doing is the plastic area in here that used to engage on the other finger guard, I'm just going to fill up with some epoxy or JB Weld or something similar to that, whatever I've got lying around, just so the JB Weld or epoxy is riding nice and snugly on the back here of the spine, and hopefully that'll just keep it pushed over enough that it should put a little bit extra tension on this side here. So we'll see. I could even, I wonder if even once I put the epoxy in there, if I just open that up, let the epoxy get in between, clamp it together overnight, that might just make it a little bit tighter on this side, so it's only this side here that's going to open up on opening and closing. So yeah, they're just a couple little things to think about. Anyway guys, cool. Just wanted to let you know, and just in case anybody wanted to play around and have a go at modifying their knives. So yeah. Okay, so this is my tiny little bench grindery thing, but I've got that little room in here that I can't even stand in here. There you go, you can see it. So it's stuck in this shelf. I've got this little thing in the road. I had to modify, oops, where am I? There. I had to modify the safety guard on here. I had to cut that off the other week and take the guard off at the bottom here, and the little vacuum part was attached to the bottom here. So I've had to, it's definitely not the best setup. And actually this is just sitting here, it rocks. It's not even stable. So, but that's what I've been playing with. So it just goes to show you can play around with just limited stuff, and obviously as you get better and get better tools, you should be able to do better work. Cool. And that's just for anyone who wants to know. Ryobi 150mm grinder sander. Cool. See ya.